everyone. Welcome to our channel. My name is Dora Chavarria. I'm a principal financial consultant, and with me today is Ernesto Alvarez, who is a principal software architect at Mayan Technologies. Today, we're going to talk about one of the most popular projects nowadays, which is the upgrade to Kinetic. We are going to list and define and talk a little bit about all the different phases, from the admin work to the technical work. So, Ernesto, let's get started.
Sure.
What would be like the initial assessment for the upgrade project?
Well, I think the first task that we need to do is we need to assess the infrastructure for the customer. We need to check the servers that they have available. We need to review the type of network that they're going to be building or that they're going to need. We need to check on licenses, on what type of Windows or SQL that they have installed. We also need to check user, what type of user, how many super users do we need to have. So we need to do an analysis and assess all that server infrastructure from the customer so that we can get a better idea of what we're talking about. How many users are we going to be logging into Epicor so that we can make sure that we provide the guidance on what do we recommend about servers and all that.
Also, if there is any additional investment that the company needs to make, like better servers or different licenses, right? That match with the requirements.
Correct.
Of the version.
That is also important because sometimes they're trying to upgrade the old system, so there are old servers running old versions of Windows, for example, as operating system. And Epicor has a very detailed guidelines on what their system should be installed on, what type of Windows version is going to work or is compatible with Epicor. So we need to make sure that we have all those listed so that we can recommend the best one for the user.
And also in this initial assessment, I think the project plan and the timeline gets defined, right? Because we need to consider from vacations from the super users or even the consultants, holidays, or if there's any important dates for the company, like month end, or any other projects related to the company main task or work, we need to consider and make sure to define which is the ETA and that we will comply with the timeline that is being defined. After that, I think we need to identify which items are showstopper, critical, and non-critical. So we can give priority, and obviously on the showstoppers first, and then the next ones or the not critical ones, we can send them to maybe another phase. Or what is your recommendation there?
Yeah, in there it's important to identify the critical items without the company cannot operate in there, so that we know beforehand, these are the items that we must have online for Monday morning. So we need to identify all those items or elements from the system to make sure that, okay, we give them the right priority, because otherwise they won't be able to operate. So we need to identify those very early on so that we know beforehand, once we start the upgrade, what we need to test. So we need to make sure that we have those identified so that we can say, okay, you know what, this is a very important integration that has to work, because otherwise the floor plan will not be able to produce items or the type of jobs they work on. So that's a really, really important one. And we need to make sure that we define all those showstoppers that we need to take into account when working on the upgrade.
If there's any documents or reports that they need to go to the customer, financial reports,
yes.
Or even the forms that I need to give those to the government, because then I will get fined or something like that. Those are the items that we should identify.
That's correct, yes.
And then I think the next step would be the customization and reports assessment. I think Epicor already has a tool in order to get this inventory of items that we are going to be working on.
Yes. Once we have an inventory of items with the customization reports that the client already has in the system, it gave us an idea, okay, what type of work we're going to be dealing with. How many customization, how many reports do we need to, how many BAQs, how many BPMs we need to consider here. So this ERP analyzer will help us get that information so that we can list it. And it's also going to help us a little bit trying to improve the Epicor ERP system, because it will be a good exercise to say, do we need this customization? Is someone being used this report or not? So it's also going to help us make the decision maybe with the customer feedback saying maybe we don't need this customization anymore, or maybe there's a new feature in the version Epicor they're going to replace the customization so we can use base.
And also another important topic would be the extended products
Yes.
and integrations, right?
Right, integrations, maybe they have the credit card module or the quick ship or any other Epicor third-party products that we need to make sure that they're compatible or they're new version or they're being used. We need to make sure that we document those so that we can, when we make the testing, we make sure that we also test that particular applications.
The next phase would be to set up a test environment, right? So I think the goal at the end of this phase is to have like a fully operational pilot or test environment where we can do this like testing passes, and start building like the recipe that we will need to follow on the actual go live date.
Correct. Yeah, having a test pilot or dev environment is crucial for this type of upgrades because we need to make sure, as Dora was saying, the passes that we're going to be doing in the actual go live. So we need to install this pilot environment, go through all the process, document any things that we need to make in order to make this functional. So it's very important to have 2 or 3 environments like pilot or a test environment so that we can install there, make sure we document any external steps or any workarounds that we need to apply because eventually we're going to be using that list on the recipe on the go live.
And then we will recompile on this first pass.
Yes.
All these custom items.
Yes. So once we have the environment set up, the test or pilot environment, we start the work of recompiling the BPMs, the customizations, the dashboard. And another important one is if they're going to be to the Kinetic UI, we also need to make the assessment, like which screens do we need to actually move to Kinetic or if you're going to be on faces. So during all this process, we do all this work. So if we need to recompile or something fails, we need to fix it. We need to make sure that we document all those changes because when we go live, we'll have to do the changes again. So we'll have to apply the fixes or we have to reinstall solutions. So we need to make sure that in this first pass, everything compiles and everything's ready in terms of the custom components so that we can give the user this environment up and running so that they can run their tests.
Okay, and now that we are talking about test, then the next phase would be the user acceptance testing, right?
Yes.
And here is where the users get access to this upgraded test environment and start fully testing all the screens, all the reports, the customizations that were converted, making sure that the mandatory fields are still mandatory, that all the prompts or warnings, we are getting the same results, etc., right?
Right. Here, we work very closely with some key users from different departments, I don't know, financial, manufacturing, to make sure that everything that needs to be tested gets tested, like invoices, that you can print the invoices, that you can post invoices, you can create jobs, schedule jobs. So we need to work closely with users from different departments so that we can make all these tests and make sure if they report back any issues, we need to analyze, is it something that we need to rework on the new version of Epicor. Again, we also need to make sure that we document those changes because we'll have to apply them as well on the go live. So this testing phase is somehow back and forth dynamic between the users and the development team.
And it's practically like just writing like a script of what we should do or which steps we will need to follow on the actual go live date.
Exactly. We actually have, as you would say, a script. So we have step 1, 2, and 3 that we need to make, and they have to be done in that specific order. So during all this process, since the creation of the app servers and everything, we start creating this script recipe, and we keep adding items to there that, now we need to do this specific task, and then after that, we do the second one. So this is a very important item or documentation that we need to be sure that it's well documented.
Correct.
In that case.
And then, the actual go live date begins. Here, we always recommend to start a Friday afternoon so you can be live on Monday. And also, if possible, take advantage of any holidays to use those extra days that we have in case it is possible. If not, we can make it work on a normal weekend. And here is where we will follow the script, as Ernesto was mentioning.
Yes.
There are some functional items that we will need to take place. For example, making sure that there's nothing pending to be posted, that we don't have any open invoices groups or something on the review journal, taking access to the user so nobody will be playing around while doing the upgrade, and also some technical steps, right?
Yeah, on this one, following the script that we build, we may have to do some additional fixes to the live production server, apply any workarounds or apply any data fixes needed. So we need to be sure that all the fixes that we did to BPMs or customization or any custom components or third-party programs, we need to make sure that we apply them in the actual live server.
Another important thing to mention is that we or the users should not only be testing like, okay, the screen opens, the report prints, but actually testing the data of the trackers or of the reports, making sure that it matches with what they had on the previous version, that the numbers make sense, that if there's any important things on the reports that you need to have, making sure it is there, not only like opening screens. And
that's correct, yes.
And we also provide post-go live support, especially on the first week after the go live date, where we work together with the users on the technical side and on the functional side, making sure, for example, if there are any new features that we will need to train them or get used to it, we will help them as well on that first week.
Yeah, correct. And on the technical side, on that post go live week, the team is available for every type of changes because we know it's actually they are daily operation. Yeah, there are gonna be a lot of transactions happening, and if there's an issue, we have to find a quick fix. So the team is dedicated to make sure that the first week gets as smooth as it can. Yes.
Well, I think that will be it, right? All of the phases of the Operate to Kinetic. Thank you, Ernesto.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video and you find this information useful. In case you need any help, you want to upgrade to Kinetic, or you want to integrate or optimize your ERP system, please don't hesitate to contact us and get a free consultation call from one of us, and we'll be happy to assist.
Yes.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel, and thank you for watching.
Thank you, everyone.